Okay, Doc, you're starting to concern me a bit. You're telling me that magic, like pulling rabbits out of a hat, that's real? Ugh, don't be absurd. Pulling a rabbit out of a hat is a parlor trick. That's stagecraft, illusion, making people believe that you have magic. I'm talking about the real, unadulterated deal. The ability to change the weather, to pull light from nowhere, control the elements, shift through realms and realities, layers of existence, pull the soul from your very body, give sight to the blind or blind the sighted. Anything you wish or believe can be done, so long as you have the magic to do it. Okay, well, that sounds terrifying, I replied. So, second question. If you had all this magic power, where the hell is it? Why can't you use magic anymore? Is magic some sort of resource, and once you use it all up, you have to collect more? Kinda just sounds like money to me. Don't be absurd. Magic doesn't work that way. And magic hasn't technically gone anywhere. It's still everywhere. It's all around you. It's in the air you breathe. It's in the blood that circulates through your veins. It's over your head when you stare at the sky. It's below your feet. You're standing on it. You exist in it. Magic is an all-consuming force that exists within all things. Nothing is without some magical essence. So magic hasn't gone anywhere. There is, of course, a limit to the amount of magic that any one person can contain within their own being, and even that can be extremely flexible. But the problem with magic is that it's changed. Something. I have no idea what, which is even more vexing than the disappearance of the magic itself, or its changing. Regardless, something changed magic. Regardless of what type of magic you want to use, in order to use it, you require incantations, spells. Magic, believe it or not, is much like science. One has to go through a process in order to achieve magic. Regardless of what type of magic you wish to use, there is always a spell required. An incantation, a process through which the magical energies must be transferred in order to make the spell coalesce. But sometime around the beginning of the last Great War, about 378 years ago to be exact, something drastic happened. And despite the fact that I had my power at that point in time, I have no idea what it was. It came from nowhere like a shockwave and spread out through everything, infecting every bit of magical essence that we could possibly reach, changing it, rearranging magic somehow. I spent decades trying to research it, trying to force my magic to work somehow, reworking the spells, trying different angles. But nothing gave me nothing. It was a complete and utter loss, no matter how much effort I tried. All spells failed. All magic ceased to cultivate, gather, or refine. It's as if the magic on Earth ceased to work like magic is supposed to. The energies are still there, but they're changed somehow. Now incompatible with the incantations that we use to produce it. And somehow this didn't just affect the magic of the world around us, but the magic within our own beings. Normally, part of magic is always drawing a certain amount of magical energy from yourself, even if you use some sort of exterior force for part of the spell. There is a large chunk that has to come from you. But even the magic in our interiors has altered in some fashion. I am no longer able to draw on the magical energies that I produce. And if I am unable to draw on the magical energies I produce, then I'm cut off from all magic. Regardless of what type of spell that I want to use, what type of power I wish to access, I must always be capable of producing at least some small measure of magic from myself in order to draw it. But the magical energies contained within me have changed. I am no longer able to control them, and thus I am no longer able to control channeling power from anywhere or anything else. But your dear sponsor, the Believer, I can't believe he chose that as his moniker for this little game of his, has offered me something very interesting. You see, me and him have had our interactions in the past, and during one of these very interesting interactions, apparently he managed to snag some of my magical essence, a good deal of it apparently, and contain it somehow. He had hoped to study it, use it in case it became necessary to use the knowledge that he gained against me. However, it became unnecessary after this event changed magic. But the energy that he took away from me wasn't stored here on Earth. It was stored elsewhere, not just in a different location, a different planet. No, according to him, he kept it within a pocket universe of some sort that he accessed through science, not magic. So he was able to retrieve this container of my essence and magical ability. If his word is true, which I believe it most likely is, then he'll give me the container with my undisturbed essence within it. Once I gain access to that container, the possibilities are limitless. For all I know, if I am able to reabsorb that energy, it might completely undo the effects that are afflicting me currently. Or at least it could be a gateway to figuring out how to do so. I could study it, find a way to reproduce the magic, or find a way to revert the magic in Earth's realm back to its previous state. There are countless possible outcomes, but they get infinitely more positive in my favor if I have that container. All of the gates open back up, and I could once again regain my former glory. Oh, how I long for it. Okay, so I think I get it. You apparently used to be some sort of all-powerful magic guy or something. We refer to ourselves as many things. Casters, sorcerers, take your pick. It doesn't really matter. In the end, all that really matters is the power and what you can do with it. Which is basically anything. He said, laughing very maniacally. So, once you get this little jar of your magic back, you're hoping that you can use it to restore your magical abilities. Return to being a magical badass, so to speak. Correct, the doctor replied. And the weight is driving me mad. I thought hell was bad, but this is just awful. You talk like you've been there, I replied, scratching at my head. You need to stop being so literal about things. Oh yes, I am being quite literal. Hell is a very unpleasant place. I'd suggest you not go there. It's very hard to get out. And at that, you've lost me. You've actually been to hell. You know what? I'm not even going to question it. Regardless of whether it's true or not, I don't want to know. That brings up a lot of very uncomfortable and very confusing questions. And I'm just done with this conversation. Quite frankly, it's all sort of terrifying. And you and that creepy-ass smile don't make it any better. But if you could, try just a little bit, to calm the hell down. It's easier to get work done if you're not screaming at Jangles every 5 minutes. Even if you think he brought you the wrong tea, maybe just fucking drink it. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go over here and try to not contemplate morality and death and whether it affects where you actually end up when you die. The fact that you actually end up somewhere when you die. Definitely not something I wanted to contemplate today. So I guess I'll talk to you later, Doc, I said, removing myself from leaning on his desk to walk away, scratching my head in frustration. Honestly, I didn't know whether to believe anything he said. He was right. It did all sound crazy. But then again, the seriousness in which he said it did make me pause to question it. And that little conversation of ours actually raised a great number of other questions that I really didn't feel like thinking about.